We now come to the urgent question. Neil O'Brien.
Mr. Speaker, to ask the Foreign Secretary if she will make a statement on the process for the appointment of the United Kingdom's ambassador to the United States.
Minister Doherty.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the honourable gentleman for his question. Before I respond to it, Mr. Speaker, I think it's important that we all recognise today as the House that it is, of course, the anniversary of the September the 11th attacks. Many of us will be attending commemorations later on today, and our thoughts are, of course, with all the thousands of people who lost their lives in that despicable terrorist attack, including many British, many American citizens and many other countries. And, Mr. Speaker, I think the whole House's condolences and thoughts will be with the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. Absolutely appalling attack and murder yesterday, Mr. Speaker. We know too well in this House, sitting underneath the two shields of our dear colleagues from across the political spectrum, the terrible consequences of political violence. And I know that the whole House will be thinking of Charlie's family, friends and others, and urging an end to this sort of political violence. It's absolutely appalling. Mr. Speaker, in light of additional information in emails written by Peter Mandelson, the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador to the United States. The emails show, Mr. Speaker, that the depth and extent of Lord Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is materially different from that known at the time of his appointment. In particular, Mr. Speaker, Lord Mandelson's suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged is new information. And in light of that, Mr. Speaker, and mindful, as we all are, of the victims of Epstein's appalling crimes, he has been withdrawn as ambassador with immediate effect.
Neil O'Brien.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for granting this statement, and I agree with the words of the Minister about September 11th and Charlie Kirk. But, Mr. Speaker, this is yet another extraordinary error of judgment by this weak Prime Minister. And I pay tribute to the Leader of the Opposition for yesterday securing justice for the victims of Epstein. This raises massive questions. It is not just that Peter Mandelson said that Epstein was his best pal and that he loved him. It wasn't just that he brokered a deal for him while he was business secretary. We now, of course, know that he was working for Epstein's early release after he was convicted. And the simple question is this. Is the Minister now saying that the Prime Minister did not know about any of this at the point where he was appointed? Don't say the boxes were ticked and the process was followed. What did the Prime Minister know at the point of his appointment? Our Minister this morning said, my understanding was that all of the information was present. Is that correct? Did the Prime Minister know, and will the government now publish all the documents relating to Peter Mandelson's vetting? And if the Minister says he doesn't know at the time, when did the Prime Minister become aware of these revelations? Now, Peter Mandelson quietly stayed at Epstein's house while he was in prison. Mandelson now says that he was wrong to think he was innocent. That's his defence. He had pleaded guilty. So there are huge questions here, Mr. Speaker. Did the State Department, the US State Department, give any warning to our government ahead of this appointment? Did the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Sue Gray, give any warning? Have any employees of Global Counsel visited our Washington embassy since his appointment? Next week is going to be the state visit. This is a huge turmoil ahead of it, and I cannot believe that the government have put our monarch in this terrible position. I am glad that Peter Mandelson has now gone. The Foreign Secretary had said that protecting women, girls and victims was her priority. How on earth did that square with the behaviour of the government over recent days, squirming and twisting to try and protect Peter Mandelson rather than the victims? Mr. Speaker, let's be clear. This is a government where you had a corruption minister having to resign over the links to corruption. You had a former police officer having to resign over having not been clear with the police. You've had a housing minister having to...
United States with 9/11 and the assassination last night. Now, this is such a crucial relationship with us with the upcoming state visit, and this is a dark cloud over this. So, will he forgive me, the Minister, I just give him some gentle advice? In my experience of these scandals, the cover-up and the lack of due process and the allegations of cronyism are much more serious than any original offence or alleged offence. So will the Minister ensure that every single document is released post-haste about the process, including this issue about the meeting that Mandelson requested with Prime Minister Blair over Epstein. So we need everything released straight away, move on and get a new ambassador.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he is absolutely right about the importance of our relationship with the United States and the upcoming state visit. Very important. We've got an extensive team working on that, and His Majesty the King is obviously very much looking forward to welcoming President Trump, and of course many, many officials working diligently day and night to ensure that that visit is a success. I'm not going to get into the individual issues and claims that he makes, but what I will say is that this is a decisive decision, and in light of the additional information in emails written by Lord Mandelson, the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador.
Kim Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to offer my support to my honourable friend, the member for Washington and Gateshead. This incident follows a number of incidents that she's experienced this week, and it's out of order. I'd like to thank the Minister for his statement, and I'm really pleased that he has been sacked. But I'd like to know what due diligence was undertaken prior to his appointment, when everybody knew about his relationship with Epstein before his appointment.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as I've made very, very clear, it was in light of additional information in emails written by Lord Mandelson that the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador, and in particular Lord Mandelson's suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged is new information.
Not telling the truth about interest-free loan. He had to resign because he had, on a second occasion, because he had helped out a business friend to get a passport. Beyond that, there are still unresolved doubts about his behaviour as the European Trade Commissioner when he gave concessions to the Russians, which helped his other dubious close friend, Mr. Deripaska. But on the positive vetting process, when he came to be a minister again, in 2010, the code, section 7.1, says ministers must ensure that no conflict arises or could reasonably be perceived to arise between their public duties and their private interests, financial or otherwise. Secretaries of State don't have private diaries. He spent time with or in Mr. Epstein's flat, it seems quietly meeting other members of the people involved in the Sempra deal, which cannot be seen to have been following his proper duties as Secretary of State. Was this investigated? Because it was in the government documents. It doesn't have to be a private email he sees. Was this investigated, and was it made a judgment on?
Well, Mr. Speaker, as I've said, and he asks specifically about vetting, all candidates for ambassador positions are subject to routine extensive vetting and background checks as a matter of course, and I would point him to the formal process outlined in the Diplomatic Service Code, which highlights the robust security clearance and vetting process which all members of the diplomatic service undergo. But again, I would point out that in light of additional information in
time when Russia is testing the very defences of NATO countries, and we are showing such a weak response.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he will know, having, I'm sure, visited our embassy in Washington on many occasions, that we have an excellent, dedicated team there, including also, of course, in King Charles Street, in the Foreign Office here in London. And they're working on many, many aspects of that crucial security, defence and economic relationship. We are preparing for the state visit, and they're working diligently in that regard, and I commend them for that work. But he asked about new information, and I've been very, very clear, Mr. Speaker, in light of the additional information in emails written by Lord Mandelson. The Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador, and I've gone into the particular items, and of course in light of that and mindful of the victims of Epstein's crimes, he has been withdrawn as ambassador with immediate.
But I wonder if the Minister could be clearer. He's used the terms the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw the ambassador. He said the PM made the decision, but he's also said in this speech that Mandelson resigned. So could he be clear in simple terms? Did he resign or was he sacked?
Minister.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I've been very, very clear. The Prime Minister asked him to ask the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador. That is the process. He is no longer in his position. But what I will agree with her is our absolute revulsion across this House at Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
Rupert.
Spend pending further investigation. But he didn't. He backed him. So on the back of that, can the Prime Minister be 100% sure that in any trade deals or any negotiations that Mr Mandelson has not been compromised by the information that has now come forward? And will he commit to investigate that?
Very good.
Well, Mr Speaker, again, I bring him back to the fundamental point here, which is in light of the additional information and emails written by Lord Mandelson, the Prime Minister asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador.
Oldwell.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Can I associate myself with the words the Minister said about 9/11 and the untimely and tragic death of Charlie Kirk? Yesterday it was reported that in 2008 Lord Mandelson emailed Epstein and said that the conviction that happened to him in the United States, I quote, could not happen in Britain, but also encouraged Epstein to go for early release. Mr Speaker, the whole House can see that the Prime Minister has an issue when it comes to judgment and only acting when he's pushed by events in this House. But will there be an investigation into Lord Mandelson's meetings while he was ambassador to see if they bear any relation or any interference on his current business interests? Will this government remove the whip from him in the House of Lords, yes or no? And will Lord Mandelson be entitled to severance pay once this action and this sacking has happened?
Well, Mr Speaker, on the question about the whip, as an FCDO employee, Lord Mandelson was on a leave of absence from the other place. So that's very clear. As I said, Mr Speaker, the emails show that the depth and the extent of Lord Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is materially different from that known at the time of his appointment, and in particular his suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged as new information, and that is why the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador to Washington.
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister had behind process yesterday. The Minister is doing the same today. Did the Prime Minister know about these messages before Prime Minister's questions yesterday?
Mr Speaker, I'm of course updating the House in real time as to actions and decisions that have been taken. I've been very clear about the new information that has come to light and the decisive decision that the Prime Minister has taken as a result.
Final question, John.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Minister claims that additional new information has come to light, which has resulted in the Ambassador being sacked. But can the Minister confirm this
decisive decision that the Prime Minister has taken as a result?
Final question, John.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Minister claims that additional new information has come to light, which has resulted in the Ambassador being sacked. But can the Minister confirm this is the only new information and all the other information was in the Prime Minister's knowledge?
Mr Speaker, I refer him to the comments I've already made.
Point of order, Neil O'Brien.